Hi YouTube. Today what we're going to be doing is I want to be showing you how to create your own custom weapon in Skyrim. What I mean by custom is I'm going to show you how to edit the stats of any weapon in the game, as well as armor, if you want to take a look at that as well. I'm not going to be showing you how to create your own custom texture or anything like that. That's a later tutorial. Now, what you want to do is if you have the game installed through Steam, that's great, it makes it a lot easier. If you don't, I'd recommend well, actually, if you don't, it's a lot harder. So it is. Now, what you want to have is you want to have the creation kit. You can download that through the tools section. It's just labeled the creation kit, so not that hard. Now, it might take a while to load. It happens for every single computer I've tried it on. You just gotta wait. Okay, so when it does load, what you want to do is you have to go to File, Data, and then you have to load the file called Skyrim.esm. Just double click it. That is the actual game data with all the original information in it, and it's very important that you load that. Now, if you watch my previous tutorial, we've created a file called plugin1.esm, or whatever you decided to name it as. Open that up, and then click Set as Active File. That's very important, because that's the file you're actually going to be editing today. Just click OK. Now it's going to take quite a while to load. Don't worry, it just does. We're going to go over the two important windows while we're doing that. Now there's only two important windows that we're going to be using today, and that's the Creation Kit window, which you just used. This is the main window for doing just about everything. It's very nice and convenient. And the other one we're going to be using is we're going to be using the Object window. And this is the window that we're going to be using for the most part today, and it's a list of every single object in Skyrim. Now we just got a warning, just click yes to all. It's not that important, don't worry. So, while we're waiting for that, it just takes a while, don't worry. Okay, so as you can see, we finally got it. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a weapon today, so what you want to do is we're going to click on Items. Now, this is every single item in the game, basically. So, weapons is in this, armor is in this, all the books, keys, ingredients, things like that. Now you want to click on weapons down here. It's the very last thing. And then inside of that, you're going to see clutter and weapons. Click on weapons, and then you're going to see a list of every single type of weapon. Now, you can pick whatever type you want. I'm going to be picking Daedric just to make it easier. I want to be editing the Warhammer, because it's a really kind of cool weapon. Now, as you can see, when I double-click it, I get this nice page with a whole bunch of stats. Now, this is almost all the information about the weapon that you need to know. So, from the top to bottom, first thing you see is the weapon's ID. So, inside the game, that's what the game calls it, the Daedric Warhammer. Not that interesting, not that important. Below that is the name. That's the name that we see. Once again, not interesting. Next is the skill. Not crazy interesting. If you wanted to make this a one-handed weapon, you could. But that's really not important. It just basically shows you what skill it's affected by. Not too important. Next is the equip type. Not really important. It shows you what you can equip it as. I'm not going to be messing with it. Now, down below here in this tab is probably the most important part that you need to see. And this is the weight and all those kinds of good stats. Now, the first thing is the weight. That's how much it weighs in your inventory. I recommend lowering that if you just in general. Next to that is the damage. That's the base damage it does. Very important if you want to make a powerful weapon. Otherwise, you can just leave it as it is. Now over here is reach. That shows how far the weapon reaches when you swing it. Once again, not that important. Projectiles isn't really important unless you're messing with a bow, in which case you'll need to edit that. Over here is the speed of how fast the weapon moves. Once again, not that important. And then only the important thing inside of here is the crit multiplier. And every time you get a critical hit, that multiplies the damage. So very important right there. Now, beyond that, there's not much. You can look at the art and sound tab, and this is really kind of convenient because it lets you change the sound or whatever you want to do. So, you might want to take a look at that. Beyond that, there's not much you need to change. And that's basically all we're going to cover in this tutorial. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to create a separate weapon from the Daedric Warhammer and not just change its stats, that's going to be the next video I show you. Now, as soon as you're done changing the stats, all you need to do is you need to go to File, Save, and save your plugin. I'm not going to because I don't want to change the plugin I have right now. And that's it, and you can modify any weapon. Now, if you wanted to do armor, all you have to do is you go up to Armor, and then as you can see, it's a much longer list. I'm going to go to Daedric, and I'm going to pick a shield, the Daedric shield, just because that's a very nice shield. It's fun. Now, what you see here, once again, is the ID and the name. I've already changed the value of how much it's worth, as you can see. Now, down here, you can see the enchanting. You can custom enchant any piece you want to whatever enchantment. I mean, it's a whole giant list of them over here. Below that is the template armor. I don't know what that is. Next, we have the weight. The weight is the weight in your inventory once again, and then next to that is the type of armor it is. Heavy, light, or none. Armor rating, so how protective it is. Below that is the equip type. We're equipping it as a shield. Technically, you could change that, but it would cause issues inside the game. And then beyond that, there's not much you need to change. It's fairly self-explanatory if you want to change something. And that's basically it. So that's how you edit an armor piece. If you want to look at like a helmet or something, it's the same. It really doesn't change too much. Okay, that's it, YouTube. I'll see you for my next tutorial.